Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at the T.REX Arms light bar. So the T.REX Arms light bar, as you can see it mounted up here, is sold exclusively by T.REX Arms, but it is made for them by Arisaka, if you can see their logo right there. Now Arisaka makes some of the best mounts for scout style weapon lights in the business. So whether you're running a stream light like you see here, or a Surefire or a mod light, they make some really good mounts. They make 45 degree mounts like this one here in the package. They also make some really slick inline mounts like this one right here, really tight to the rail. And then they also make the light bar, which is what we're looking at today. Now I'm sure to a lot of you, you are already questioning why you would want a mount like this, and I'm sure you think it looks a little goofy. I can basically hear you typing in the comments as we speak to tell me just that. And I do agree it looks a little goofy at first glance, but this does have quite a few functions. So I have two of these mounted up. As you can see, they're set up exactly the same way. This one is for M-LOK, and this one is for key mod, and they also do make a Picatinny version. But there's several reasons you might want a mount like this. One of the reasons is on a shorter build like the one you see here, you simply do not have a lot of available rail space. So having something like this that pushes that light forward just simply gives you more room. No matter how you want to grip that rail, or no matter what kind of vertical grip or hand stop or whatever you might be running, having that light being able to push and kind of throw it forward definitely gives you a lot more space for your hand on these shorter rails. Another reason you want a mount like this, and it's pretty much the primary reason that I'm running one other than what we just went over, is for when you're running a suppressor. So hopefully you're fortunate enough to have a suppressor. I definitely recommend you getting one if you don't. And now when I install the suppressor on here, all of a sudden this starts to make a lot of sense. So I'm still getting all the advantages with my hand placement that I mentioned before, but now I'm getting quite a few other advantages as well. One of the big advantages being when I do use my weapon light in a low light or no light environment, you can see the way this is just barely lighting up the side of my suppressor. If I was to take this same suppressor and put it on this rifle, it would be quite a bit different. So I now have the light mounted to the other rifle. And as you can see here, we have a lot of splash on the side of this suppressor. So this is bad for quite a few reasons. If you're in more of a two-way range environment, obviously just having this light hitting this suppressor is really going to stand out. Obviously you would not be running it in constant on. You would be using your momentary on. When it comes to weapon lights, they're important, but you need to train with them and know how to use them. And I'll try not to rant anymore. One of the other kind of bad things, it's not really that big of a deal, but it is noticeable. When the light hits the side of this suppressor, it does bounce back toward the shooter just a little bit. The other big thing is, obviously, the light hitting the side of the suppressor here, so you're not getting the full potential of your weapon light. So all those lumens and all those candela are great, but they're not all going down range. Some of them are hitting this light and reflecting the other direction. So you're really going to notice that when I compare these two in the dark here in just a few minutes, because the suppressor shadow on this one is going to be much more than on this one. And that suppressor shadow is bad for quite a few reasons. The main reason being it basically cuts your situational awareness in half. All the light that is hitting this side of the suppressor is not going down range, therefore not lighting up the threat. So now we're going to kill the lights, and I'm going to try to demonstrate what I've been showing you here. And I'm going to move this suppressor back and forth between these two rifles, and you'll be able to see the difference from the more traditional mount, just mounted up square with the muzzle, and then the T.REX Arms light bar. All right, first we're going to look at the setup with the more traditional mount, with the light being pretty much flush with the end of the muzzle. So as you can see there, it's really blocking the complete left side of that light. Obviously this light has a lot of lumens, and it has really good candela, which for those of you that don't know is more important than lumens. So it's got a good hot spot. It's not blocking that, don't get me wrong. Obviously this is still completely functional, but you are losing a lot of light on that left side because it is splashing off the side of that suppressor. So this is less than ideal, and I know it's been done this way for a long time, and it absolutely works, and it will still get the job done, but there's a better option available. So now we'll check out the T.REX Arms light bar. So everything is the same suppressor. The only thing that's really different is we have the light bar now. And as you can see, much, much better. Now there's still a little bit of suppressor shadow. If I move the hot spot completely off the camera, you can see it. but I think we all can agree it is much better. If I put the beam there in the center of the screen, you can't even see the suppressor shadow at all. And if I move it in, you can see I still do have a little bit of flash on the end of my suppressor, but nowhere near as bad as the splash on the other one. Depending on what model of scout light you have, so whether you have a Surefire or Arisaka or something like that, that's going to kind of dictate how well this works. Also, it's going to depend on the length of your suppressor. This is a 30 caliber suppressor, so it's actually a little bit on the large side. If you had a little bit more of a mini, something like a M4 SDK or the Surefire minis or something like that, that suppressor would be much, much closer down here, and it could actually be inset a little bit from the end of the light, which would be ideal. But in this case, we're running a full-size suppressor, and it doesn't 100% fix the problem, but it definitely makes it a lot better. I hope you could kind of see the difference comparing those two when I cut the lights out. It's kind of hard to show you something like that over video, but I can assure you the differences with and without the light bar actually in person are much, much more noticeable than on video. I highly recommend the light bar. Obviously, this thing is built by Arisaka, and it is built extremely well. It's nothing but quality. I have quite a few Arisaka mounts, all different kinds, and the light bar is no exception. It is really, really good quality. Like I said, it is sold exclusively through T.REX Arms. If you haven't heard of T.REX Arms, I definitely recommend you check them out. They have a lot of good quality stuff. I absolutely love the T.REX Arms SLING. I have a video on that I will link below. It has quickly became my favorite sling, which you can see here. I've got it on quite a few. This one doesn't have it, but this also does have a T.REX there in the back. Obviously, you're going to get the most benefit out of this light bar if you are running some sort of suppressor. I understand not everybody has suppressors, and for that I am sorry, because all gun laws are infringements. But even if you are running this thing without a suppressor, as long as you're running a good quality weapon light, and when I say that, I'm referring to Streamlight, Surefire, Cloud Defense, and Mod Light. Those are kind of the four that I consider to be good weapon lights. None of the other hipster lights that come in fancy packaging. But as long as you're running a good quality weapon light, it should hold up to it. I have ran hundreds of rounds through this one here and this one unsuppressed, and the lights have held up just fine. Obviously, they're taking a beating. They're getting a lot more concussion just forced against that light. But as long as you're running a good one, they should hold up. If you don't take anything else out of this video, please take this. Suppressors are cool. These are some pretty cool builds, at least in my opinion. These are good quality weapon lights. But none of this stuff matters without training. Training doesn't mean flipping tin cans, and it doesn't mean seeing how fast you can shoot the berm. It means getting good quality instructions, whether that be in person or possibly even on YouTube. There's some good people out here that are putting free content out that you can really learn from if you're willing. Learn how to use these things. Learn how to be proficient. If you're going to have a white light on your gun, which I absolutely recommend, learn how to use it correctly. Having a white light on your gun is absolutely going to be nothing but a bullet magnet if you're not using it properly. So go out, get some training. Don't get too wrapped up in all the Gucci gear that's on the market. Have good quality stuff, don't get me wrong, but focus on the training. It really is the Indian, not the arrow. Now that my rant is over, I had to throw that in. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found the information helpful. I think at this point you know I highly recommend the light bar, and I would recommend it to anybody, especially if you are going to be running a suppressor like this. If you would like to contact me directly for any reason, Instagram is the best place to do so. Also, if you're not following me over there, I would really appreciate that as well. As always, thanks for watching. See y'all next time.